Holly, your video's not showing.
It didn't share, Nicole?
No, do you want me to share mine?
No, I'll try again.
You'll get visible after things totally calm down, right? Meanwhile, your calendar is feral like a crazy cat all over the place. Colors, you can't even remember what they are anymore. Your inbox is totally on fire. Yeah, you wish you could set fire to it. And later has been lying to you for years because you know what? The truth is, you are the best kept secret, my friend. You're busy doesn't equal visible. Hard work doesn't magically broadcast itself across the radio waves. Nope. That's why the Brew and Stew Media Spotlight exists. That's right. A collaboration between Nicole Borghi and Colleen Stubbs. One booking, two podcasts, no pitching, no chasing, no pretending you enjoy the outreach. We know you don't. Nobody does. You show up, you talk like the authority you already are. Your message gets heard on purpose to an aligned audience. Stop waiting. Stop hiding behind the busy button and book your Brew and Stew Media Spotlight package now, because staying invisible is a choice and you're not going to do it anymore. You're going to be visible. You're going to be influential. Scan the QR code. Make that choice for the Brew and Stew package. Busy, booked, exhausted. Your inbox is screaming at you like a siren. Your calendar is still feral. Still calling yourself visible and you're just the best kept secret? Turns out I was right there with you, my friend. Wasn't getting seen, was just the best kept secret. Wasn't getting heard, definitely, kind of getting paid. But here, the magic, my friend. It's a collaboration between Colleen Stubbs and Nicole Borghi. The Voice Lab on the school platform shows you how to use podcast spotlights, summit stages, and simplified, yeah, that's right, simple outreach systems so your visibility actually works. Get seen, get heard, join the free Voice Lab on the school platform, and you're going to get it all. Because if you're working this hard, someone else should know about it. Scan the QR code today.
All righty. Good morning, and welcome to Monday Morning Business Foreplay. Everybody, there is our lovely guest speaker. So first of all, I want to start by saying go ahead and utilize the chat if you want to drop your contact information, at least your LinkedIn if you want to, and then go ahead and save the chat on your end if you're interested in connecting with those people. And this morning, we are so blessed to be able to hear from Lynn Lionhood. Lynn, my favorite Lynn. She is my favorite Lynn in the whole world. Let me tell you a little bit about Lynn. Lynn and I met maybe in May of last year, maybe before then. And she just really took me under her wing and worked hard to get to know me and take me in and share some business tips and just strategies, as well as sharing me with other people. And I thought that, number one, this was the first person I met online that actually did that. It was as if she was actually interested in who I was as a person, not just my business, but who I am as a person. What makes me tick? What do I love to do? And then also my business, so interested in my business and how she can help me. And that was months and months ago, and she hasn't let up on that since. Now, she does have a lunch with Lynn every Thursday from noon to 2 Central Standard Time. And when I first heard of that, I was like, I'll go to an hour because that's a long networking meeting to hear blah, blah, blah over and over, right? And so I went to lunch with Lynn and I was so disappointed that I had to log off after an hour. It was a great event. And since then I go for the full 2 hours. Absolutely love it. It's a great way to connect and really get to know people. And Lynn just has a different way of doing networking than I've seen anywhere online, really. And hers is also broadcast on the radio, which is a huge plus. So, and I've watched people pick up clients and prospects from her just being on the radio. So it's a great, like literally when it's your turn and you call out your phone number, sometimes she'll be like, hey, somebody on the radio needs your phone number again. And so they'll come back and do it again. And so the thing about Lynn is that what you see is what you get. She is real. She is authentic. She is human. And she never tries to pretend to be something she's not, except maybe she's pretending to be in the Alps or wherever she's pretending to be today. Sometimes it's a pool behind her. But I love that. And it's such a treat to get to hear from Lynn today. So Lynn, dive in and tell us how long, let's start with how long have you been the leader in networking? Because you've been networking forever.
At
You were
least 30,
muted.
at least 35. Oops.
Nope, you're good. You're good.
At least 35 years I've been doing this now and absolutely love it. And every single week it feels like it's fresh and new and nothing feels stale. It's really great. No scripts ever. Everything's winged just like I'm going to do it today.
Good. Good. And so when you first started, it was different. Clearly pre-COVID, right? Which we can all just talk about. But I think when COVID hit, we all tried to come online and really start doing a business here online. But you were networking long before that. And so what was it like back in the day? How did you get started? Why? And what was it like?
Okay, I'm going to tell you a funny little story about what I didn't know what networking was. Somebody took me to a networking event. At least that's what they told me it was. So I thought, oh boy, I'm going to get to learn what this networking thing's all about. So I went. I was with one of my healthcare benefits at the time, and we set up a little table, kind of like a business networking event. And we were waiting for the people to show up who were going to come and talk to us about what we had. And nobody came. There were a lot of people there, but they all had tables, but there were no guests. And I kept thinking, well, this is kind of strange. I don't know how this is going to help my business. And after a while, we were in this beautiful restaurant. Pretty soon, a little voice came over the loudspeaker saying, okay, close up all your stuff. And I'm thinking, well, we didn't do anything. Closed up all my stuff. And now the lunch started. Beautiful restaurant, white tablecloths, really beautiful china. We start to have our lunch. There were all women, I believe. And there was a lot of drinking going on. Now, I don't drink, but I don't care if anybody else has a little cocktail with lunch. But they weren't having one. They were really having a lot. And the next thing I knew, they were up on the tables and the music got louder and they were dancing and starting to take clothes off. And I thought, I'm out of here. I don't know what kind of networking this is, but I'm not ever doing this again. So I went back to my office and said, that's it. I'm out. No networking for me. Next thing I know, there are men coming up asking me if I'd like to go to a networking event. And I thought, I'm going to apologize, but I just say whatever's on my mind. And I thought, you pig, there's no way I'm going with you to a networking event like that. And so I just didn't do it. One day somebody pushed and I went to a BNI event and it wasn't at all like the event that I went to the first time. And I thought, oh, Well, there were some things I liked about the BNI. There were some things I didn't like. So I just went home and said, you know what? I'm not going to complain. I'm going to build my own. I'll take the things I like and I'll take the things I don't like and fix them. And the rest is history. First event I had 35 guests, and in no time, it grew to 100 people every single week. It got bigger and bigger. It used to be 3 hours long.
That's amazing. And so I am going to drop your link right now in the chat so people can register for this. Now, you did a lot of these in person and COVID hit. And so for the rest of the world, that just shut down doing things in person, but not for Lynn. Not for Lynn. Lynn still has. So she still has networking events where she combines them. They're in person and they're virtual. And it seems like such a weird thing. I was like, that's so weird. And she said to us, when I went to my first one with her, she said, bring your lunch. Everybody's going to be having lunch. And I was like, it's a little unprofessional to be eating on camera. But then you realize that everybody that's doing that in person is at a restaurant eating on camera. And so, yes, now I make a glorious lunch to bring with me to that. So tell us how you progressed through COVID. How did you handle that?
I panicked. I kept thinking, I'm not a techie person. What am I going to do? But you know, God is very good. He made the whole world learn Zoom at the same time. So we were all screwing up and making the same mistakes. So it wasn't bad. And every week, I'm probably my own worst critic. Every week I would look at it and say, if I were a guest, forget that I'm the host. If I were a guest, what would I not like and what would I like to see be better? And every week I kind of worked on trying to fix whatever I didn't like. So now I've kind of gone back to that again. After every meeting, I take all the newbies that are there and say, could you just stay on for a little bit? And I find out from them, what do you like and what did you not like? So that I can always make sure that I'm making it better for them. It really is not about me. It's about them. But I've been to some horrible online events that were so boring. I mean, it was horrible. And I said, I don't want to be that person ever.
Yeah. And so, Lynn, tell me, I'm going to put you on the spot. If you pull your phone out right now.
Yeah.
Pull your phone out. Look at it.
Yeah.
Out of your last 10 texts, how many of them went to people other than your family? So people that you network with.
Oh, everyone.
Did you hear that? So while you and I are nervous, while the world is nervous about texting somebody, Lynn does this on the regular. Lynn, why are we doing that? Why do you do that? Why do you randomly text me?
Well, let me give you a little secret about that. If you're worried about texting people, what do you think is going to happen? You think they're going to think that you're bothering them and you're going to sell them something. So why don't you solve that problem and not bother them and not sell them? So what do you do then? So what I do is I read something, I don't know, 7, 8 years ago now, that let me know that gratitude was not being shown enough in this world. And I thought, ooh, I think that's speaking to me. I don't think I'm grateful enough. And I try to always thank everybody for everything they do for me, but I think it was one step more. So I thought, if you're in my phone, you're in there for a reason. I don't just put everybody in my phone, but if I've had contact with you and I feel that you're special, I put you in my phone. But how many of those people in my phone know that they're in there because they're special to me? Probably little to maybe a handful. So I get up every morning after I say my morning prayer. I pick 15 to 20 people, just randomly pick them, and I send them a morning message to let them know that I'm thinking about them or that they're important in my life and why they're important in my life, or what do I like about them, or what do I wish for their day, just something to know that they're being thought about. And then when I need to pick up the phone and call them, they're happy to hear from me. They're not upset in any way, shape, or form. Maybe I send some, and you would be shocked. I now I'm up to 3. In 8 years, I've had 3 people say, please don't bother me. 2 of them said, you bother me too early in the morning. Well, I get up pretty early in the morning. And one of them was a guy, and he said, stop calling me so early in the morning because my wife thinks it's a girlfriend of mine calling me. So he has other issues that I don't think I know about. So I fixed all 3 of those people. I don't want to get them upset if they don't want to be bothered. I mean, I like the thought that somebody was thinking about me before I got out of bed in the morning and wishes me to have a good day. But if that bothers them, I fixed them all, sucked them right out of my phone. So now when they call, it comes up unknown number. And when they don't understand why I say, who is this? I say, well, you didn't want to be bothered, so I took you out of my phone.
There you go.
One guy said, please put me back in your phone. I'm sorry.
Okay, so this business foreplay is all about how to build businesses through networking. And Lynn, you are absolutely the queen of this. And I went back and looked at my text messages from you. They all start with "Good morning, my friend." I'm not going to tell you what the next part is because sometimes it's a little bit personal, but every one of them, sometimes it's just sharing a post she saw that she thought I would like. So just a simple thing. What that does is, number one, let you know you're top of mind for somebody. Number two, it does show gratitude just exactly as you want. But number three, it starts my day out on the right foot. Like I feel valuable to somebody in the business world outside of my family. Clearly, I'm valuable to my family. But in my business and in the world, I feel valuable to somebody. And I think that that is just amazing. I really love that. Now, some of the things I want you to take a minute and tell us some of the things that set your actual networking event, your Thursday networking event, because you have multiple events, but your Thursday one, what sets that apart from other people?
Let me go back for 1 second to what you just said, Colleen. If you got up and you sent those 20 messages and people begin to regularly, now I don't send a message to somebody. If I've sent them a message 1 week, I won't send them a message for at least another week. Now, when they see Colleen's name, how could they not want to take Colleen's call? Because they know that Colleen's thinking about them. So it is a great way to ingratiate yourself and let them know that you're a positive person. And in none of those messages do I ever mention what I do. It's not important. But I'm going to tell you what sets my meeting apart. But I want to share something really important because I thought about this call for the last few days. And there's a little story that I think will help everybody on here. You know, we've probably all heard the message that the fortune's in the follow-up. And it is. And I'm going to give you a great example of that. I actually told this story to a woman once, and she wrote a book, and she called me up and she said, Lynn, I'm giving you 4 pages in my book, and I want you to tell me that story again. And I'm putting that story in my book, which she did. So I want to share that with you guys because I think it's a great lesson. When I was living in the Chicagoland area, I was in the far south Chicago suburbs at the time, and somebody invited me to go to the Greater O'Hare Chamber, which is a huge, huge chamber. There are like 5 or 6 sub-chapters of it. It's so big, but they invited me to go to a networking breakfast. Now that would mean that, and it was winter, that would mean I would have to get up when it was pitch dark, drive an hour and a half one way to get there. The breakfast would maybe be an hour or so long and then drive back. But I thought it was well worth the investment. So I went. Now, this was back when speed dating was like a big thing. Obviously, I've been married 53 years, so I don't know about speed dating, but that's what they tell me. And they were doing a little speed networking. So I went up there, and some of you have probably been to events like this. Sit at a table with 10 or 12 people, and you have, because they gave me 4 numbers on a card when I walked in. So you sit at whatever the first number is, and you all have juice. And you all tell each other 1 minute about what you do, and you pass business cards, and then bing, ding, 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 everybody goes and has an egg at the next table, and 10 different people or 12 different people, and then ding, 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 go to the next table and have a muffin or something. And you do that 4 times. So I did this, and I thought, okay, this is a new concept for me. And I took all these cards. Now you have to ask yourself, what are you doing with the cards? Are you a professional card collector? Because I know lots of people that do that. They don't do anything with them, or they hit them up and they immediately try to sell them all. Trust me, your stuff's going right in the trash. That's what's going to happen. So here's what I did. I sent the most beautiful thank you message I could write to all of them individually. Took a little time to do that. And I had a gentleman call me back right away, probably the same day. His name was Matt. And Matt said, gee, I was really impressed that I got to meet you. Could you come and see me at my office? And I said, sure. Now his office is a half an hour north of where I went to that meeting. And I had written some notes on his card. He had 3 employees, and I do employee benefits. So there would be a total of 3, maybe 4 people maximum that I would get if that became a client. So I told my husband I was going. My husband is not into any of this stuff. He said, it's a waste of your time and money to go. I said, well, I'm going. So I went and I met with Matt. And Matt said, I am so impressed. He said, could you do me a favor? Would you come out to my office next week and make a presentation on the benefits that you offer? And I said, absolutely. And I went home, told my husband how it turned out. And again, he said, waste of your time, but I went. I presented to all of them. And the next thing I know, after I've made my presentation, I get a call from Matt the next day saying, great presentation. We absolutely loved it. So I get a call from Matt the following week, and he said, Lynn, I have 12 offices with 17 employees in each office. Would you be willing to come into all those offices and offer benefits? I thought, 12 offices with 17 employees? Are you kidding me? This is like the mother lode. I'm going. So I went, and they were all over the suburbs of Chicagoland, and I went, and it was wonderful. These people did things none of my clients ever did. They put a closed sign on the door. For an hour, they didn't take phone calls. They all paid attention. It was absolutely wonderful. Sold and made a ton of money. Got a call the next day from Matt. Thank you very much. By the way, Lynn, I'd like to know if next week you could go to one more of my locations. Sure. Where do you want me to go, Matt? I want you to go to Memphis, Tennessee. I have 200 employees there. What? Okay. I said, I need a month. I have to get a license. I don't have a Tennessee license. He said, all right. And I went. When I was there, I thought, you know what? I'm in Tennessee. He's in Illinois. I said, do you know Matt very well, the owner? Yes, I do. How many employees does he have? He has 17,000 employees. So I went back, and this time I called Matt and I said, Matt, how many employees do you have? And he told me. And I said, why did you not tell anybody that first day at the Greater O'Hare Chamber? And he said, Lynn, I met 40 people that day. You were the only person that contacted me back. He said, if I had told everybody I had 17,000 employees, they would have all called me back. But you paid attention to me, and I only told you I had 3. He said, why did you do that? I said, well, I didn't know you had all these employees, but I thought that your 3 employees were as important to you as the guy who had a big company, his employees. And he said, that's why I love you. And it was a wonderful relationship. So I want you all to know that sometimes it isn't what it seems. Be respectful to each and every person you meet. And you've got to understand, you don't know what's behind that facade. You don't know who they're going to know or what they've got to offer. Always be respectful of everyone. It just turned out wonderful. So the fortune is in the follow-up. Had I not followed up, that was my biggest client ever, and I would never have had them.
That's so interesting. And I love that. And I think that probably all of us have experienced that on some level. I will share a little thing here. You know, my husband, when we first moved to this town, went into he just was driving down the road and saw a salon and went in to get a haircut. And the girl never looked at him. If you know my husband, he looks a little bit like a bum because he doesn't value the opinion of people. He'll be out rolling around under a tractor and get up and go to town. He will be greasy, dirty, and go to a nice dinner that's $300. He doesn't care. He's not here to impress anybody. He just isn't. That girl never acknowledged his presence. He sat there for an hour and 10 minutes. Never acknowledged his presence. She finished the client she was on. They left. She still never acknowledged him. The funny thing is, she came to my shop around the corner to shop and had no idea we were connected or knew each other. We looked very different from each other. And when my husband came in from the back, she was so shocked. And I was just like, yeah, you just never know about people. You just don't know. And the greatest thing we can do, the greatest gift we can give, not only others, but ourselves, is to get to know people, to really, truly get to know them. Know the why behind everything they do. Know them, what their intentions are, and know them enough that you are not only empathetic, sympathetic, but aware and able to share them with other people. That's the greatest gift in networking, is that when you know somebody so well, nobody is going to say, why would you connect me with them? Because you know them that well. They're going to
I mean,
start
that's-
trusting the fact that, hey, Lynn said I should connect with you. I'm connecting with you.
That's one of the things that at my networking event, it's not just people talking about what it is they do. I try to teach them the right way to network, at least my right way to network. Because I say, if there are a dozen people on this call this morning, you should think of them as a dozen books on a shelf. You have no idea what's inside that book. Open it up and don't think of Nicole Borghi as just somebody who puts together events. Get to know, and I always say a great question to start out if you're unsure of what to say is, ask them what they wanted to be when they were 18. If Lois says to me when I first meet her, I wanted to be a ballerina at 18, I'm going to say, Lois, are you a ballerina now? No. Okay, so I want to find out, how did that girl who wanted to be a ballerina so bad get to where she is now? I promise you, it's not a straight line. It's that jagged line of success and disappointment and success, and maybe got fired somewhere and thought that was the end of the world, but then recreated herself and picked herself up and went on. That is the most inspiring story you can hear. And if you learn that about people, you will now know where they've lived, what their interests are, the story behind that person, because nobody ever asks that stuff. They all just say, okay, Lois, what do? You sell widgets. Okay, how much are your widgets? Well, I don't need the widget. And then they walk off. Wrong. Get to know Lois. I may never need what Lois has got, but if I get to know Lois, chances are I'm never going to shut that book completely. I will now, when I meet other people, think about what Lois has said, and people will come to mind that have worked where she's worked in that industry, or good connections for her, or have a love of being a ballerina, whatever it might be. And that will help her open the door and start those relationships. So I think that building the relationship is far more important than selling one widget. It just is. It will lead to more referrals, more opportunities, more connections. It's great.
All right, Lynn, I've been called out recently for being bold and putting people on the spot.
Uh-oh.
There's one thing I know, it's that with the number of grandkids and family that you have and the interactions you have every day in your business life, you can handle being put on the spot.
Okay.
I'm going to put you on the spot.
Gotcha.
Are you sure that you're ready?
No, I'm not, but I'll do it.
Okay. I want to know, I'm going to give you a few minutes before I put you on the spot. I'm just going to ask generally here. What you tell us when we go to your networking group. You often put us in little groups of 4 outside of your networking group.
Right.
Like, go meet together during the week. The 4 of you go have lunch. Why? I've met with Keith already 15 times. Why in the hell would I need to meet with Keith again? Have you met
You
Keith?
have to keep meeting with Keith.
Why? Why?
Okay, so here, suppose I tell you to meet with Keith, meet with Valerie, meet with Nicole, and meet with Lois. And you go, but I already know Keith. But you don't know the other 3 people that I've just put you in a room with. So when you go in there, trust me, Keith's going to edify you because he knows a lot about you, and you're going to edify Keith. Stop thinking that you can only meet somebody once. That's wrong. How many times have you met with your friends for lunch? And how many times have you been there having lunch with your friend? Listen, I'm going to tell you, I used to meet with my best friend all the time. And one day we went to go see a psychic. And when we came out of the psychic, I said, well, how'd that go? She said, well, she told me that I needed to stop sleeping with that guy. I said, what guy are you sleeping with? And I thought I knew everything about her, but I found out she was sleeping with some bum. I'm glad the psychic told her to stop it. So you're always going to hear and see something you didn't see or hear before. So it's very imperative, even if I put you in a room with 3 people you've met with and 1 you haven't, let's say it's Carl. Carl has no idea he's going to be ganged up on because 3 of you know each other and you're comfortable with each other, but you can all really take on Carl. Okay, Carl, give us your whole life story. We all want to hear it because you don't care about listening to Keith's story again. You'll hear something from Keith, but Carl will be the focus. So always meet, even if I put you in a room with all 4 of the same people, then go in that room and say, what can I do for you this week that I haven't done for you? Who would you like to be introduced to? Trust me, there's a lot of things you can do in that room.
Okay. Are you ready?
I think I am. I'm not in the bathroom, but I'll try.
This is why you came on here, and this is why our guests are here, is to hear the hard-hitting questions.
Gotcha.
So, we're cutting the BS. What's one thing everyone in your industry is doing that you call bullshit, and why are they still doing it?
You really want to know? I'm going to tell you
I
the
do.
truth. Okay, I'm going to tell you. And I'm with Legal Shield. I think what they're doing wrong is every sentence has to start with Legal Shield and end with Legal Shield. They sound like a cult. They're just repeating the same phrases, the same jokes, the same everything. When I first said I was going to have a luncheon, a lot of them wanted to come to my luncheon. They thought it was going to be like the sanctioned luncheons that my company offers, which, you know, I love my company, but I don't approve of what they're doing. They're telling people they're going to go out to a networking luncheon. And really, I think it's bait and switch. People go out thinking they're going to meet some people, and all they're going to do is get an hour and a half of a presentation about Legal Shield. They're going to be like people in a timeshare meeting. You're going to see it on their face. Their eyes are going to glaze over. They're going to be looking at their watch going, how do I get out of here? I know the hard sell people are going to hit me at the end. So I don't approve of that. So when they would come to my luncheons, I said, this is not a company sanctioned event. This is my field that I've planted seeds in. I don't want you coming in here and ruining it. And I've had a couple of them try to sneak in. They came in regular clothes, went to the bathroom, and the next thing I know, I'm passing the microphone at my event in person, and here's two guys sitting with Legal Shield shirts on. I thought, where'd that come from? So no, I think that, to me, that's distasteful to me. I wouldn't want that done to me, and I will never do that to anyone else.
Well, and I think, Lynn, to buoy that up a little bit, is that when I went and met, I had a one-on-one with somebody through networking, and they sold Legal Shield. They came at me with all these questions, all these reasons why I need to quit the Legal Shield I have and start something new. But here's the thing, Lynn never sold me on Legal Shield. I bought Legal Shield from Lynn. She never sold me on it because she didn't sell me on it, because she didn't pursue me and pound it into me like this guy was the first time I met him for 20 minutes. I was very comfortable, and she had texted me and we had built a relationship. I was very comfortable writing down all these things he was telling me and going back to Lynn and saying, Lynn, what about this? What about this? What about this? And Lynn was able to explain that then and be like, yeah, no, don't do that. Absolutely, Donna. Lynn sold me on Lynn. Okay, next question.
Okay,
What's a mistake
past
you
one,
made?
huh? I'm
You passed,
33%.
you passed.
I'm 33% of the way there. Okay.
If you think Lynn passed, drop her some love. Shoot her a heart emoji.
Please
Okay,
do.
so what's a mistake you made that cost you serious money or time that you kept making anyways because you were too proud or scared to admit it was not working?
That was when Legal Shield was telling me, you know, they were pumping my head up about, oh, yeah, you're so great. You're so wonderful. Please bring people to our meetings. And they said, Lynn, could you fill the first 2 rows? Now, mind you, there were some people there who had one guest. Lynn, could you fill the first 2 rows? Well, that's like 20 people. And I brought 20 people, and I swear to you, all those people went into the witness protection program. I never seen or heard from them again. They wouldn't take my calls, and it was nothing I said, but I was playing the game, and I'd sit in the back and I'd listen and I'd say, oh, this is terrible. This is terrible. And the one guy said, I think this is a cult. And I said, oh, it sounds like a cult. So I did that for about a year, and finally I just went to my upline and I said, no, not doing this anymore. I'm never coming back to any, and seriously, I've been there 25 years. I never go to meetings. I don't get on calls. I do everything that I'm not supposed to do, but I'm successful. When I moved to Connecticut, most times I'm the top producer out here, and the big wigs out here contact me and say, are you a real person? Like, we need you to come out to the meeting. I said, don't count on it. It's never going to happen. Never.
There you go. And so much growth happens when you stand on your beliefs inside your business. I had this conversation with somebody earlier today, and you know what? That is the rocket that shoots your butt to the top. Is stand firm in your beliefs. It sets you apart, and it really just helps you to stay focused. And those so important to do. Okay,
always remember to put yourself in the spot of the person that you're talking to. Would you be offended if someone did this to you? And if you think that, just be you. Just be you. We need more real people in this world.
Absolutely. One last question, then we're going to break it open for Q&A.
Wait a minute. I'm at 66% now. I can see the finish line.
Yay!
Yay!
And you've passed with flying colors.
Yay.
Okay, there are multiple people on here that have their own networking platform or networking event. I want you to listen up. This is advice coming from the queen of networking. Grab your notebook, grab your pen, and listen up. Lynn, if you could give one piece of advice to somebody in your industry that would piss off half your peers, what would it be, and why is it worth the backlash?
Most important piece of advice I would ever give anybody who has an event. First of all, you should all be supporting each other's events. Do that until they've got a flying start and they're doing well and they don't need you there anymore. Go there and be interesting. Ask questions. If they have a speaker, you know how horrible it is if Colleen has an event and I'm her speaker and she says, does anybody have any questions? And you all sit like a bunch of mutes. So if you don't have a question now, get a pen and start writing something. I don't care what you write. Doesn't matter what you ask. Help her out because she has asked this person to come out and share information with you. And if you don't ask some questions, it looks like you were texting or doing something other than paying attention. But my one thing that I would tell you to never forget if you have your own meeting, and Carl, I think you do a good job of this, always think about how much time the event entails and say, I don't want Carl to come to my event and feel as if he wasted his time. If it was a waste of time, he will never come back. Make sure that he gets value for the time that he spends with you. Now, I've watched Valerie from the day she started her event, and every time everybody leaves, they say it was a great event, and they're not just mouthing the words. She makes it enjoyable. She makes it fun. I've been to Colleen's events over and over again, and I was so impressed. I mean, and I've started now when I have my events, do not fear cross-promoting someone else's event. My doctor told me to knock it off. I was going to 5 or 6 Zooms every week or every day trying to support everybody. The doctor said 1 event extra per week, period. So I make sure that I take that event and I cross promote it in my thank you. So as a host, you should be following up with your guests and letting them know you appreciated that they were there and that they spent their time with you. And like I said, give them something of value. Otherwise, trust me, they're not coming back.
This is so true. And so what we do for ours, just in case you are new to my platform, my event, what we do for our guest, our co-host, is we create short clips of them speaking about something they're passionate about, and we give those back to them. So that, and they're usually 30 to 90 seconds, but that way they can share them on different platforms at different times just to promote themselves and what they believe in their business. And so that's what we give. So do you need a little breathing minute for a minute? Because we're going to go into Q&A.
Want me to tell you one little funny story about failure?
Yes, please do.
Because I think everybody thinks when they meet me that I've always been successful. No, I've had failures. So let me tell you my biggest failure. I'll admit it. It's like a wart on my face. I'll tell you about it right away. So here's the deal. And I'm not going to tell you the name of the company, but one of the largest insurance companies that you all would know, auto insurance companies, huge name. I get invited down to the town that company's headquarters is in, not to the company itself, but to a large company in that town. And I went there, never paying attention to the fact that the headquarters of this large insurance company is in that town. And I made my presentation on Legal Shield. And I gave as one of my examples how someone had used Legal Shield against that big insurance company. And they had won their case because of Legal Shield, because the company was screwing them. And I wondered, after I got done, usually I have a very high close ratio, like 90 to 95% of the people will sign up. I walked out of there and nobody bought anything. And I said, what did I do wrong? Like, there has to be something wrong. Then somebody, when I came out of there, said to me, maybe you shouldn't have told that story about that company. Like, everybody in this room has a family member that works at that company. I said, oh, crap. Have to be more cognizant of where I am and what stories I'm telling, because I had a ton of stories. Shouldn't have told that one. Never made that mistake again. But you know what? Sometimes God gives us a real little slap to say, pay attention to what you're doing. Do it a little better. So that was a good learning experience. So know who you're talking to.
That's amazing. A little research goes a long ways, huh, Lynn?
Yeah. Oh, God.
There you go. Carl says you didn't fail. You fell, got up, pivoted, learned, and carried on, I think is what it said. All right. We are going to dive into our Q&A part. But before we do that, just to let everybody know, if you are interested in being a guest speaker, you can go to if you want to be a guest speaker on either Monday Morning Business Foreplay or Pain Point Podcast, or both. This is specifically for both. You can go to Brew and Stew mediaspotlight.com. Nicole is dropping that in the chat right now, and find ways that you can be a guest speaker. It's right there listed. We have like 5 packages. The first one is for speakers. You can also just be a sponsor, so that we would show your QR code like Nicole has on her screen. You want to spotlight yourself, Nicole? We would show your QR code and a logo of yours like Nicole has on her screen. Or you can also have a commercial like the commercial that we played at the beginning of this. You can have your own commercial here on both this podcast as well as Nicole's podcast, as well as Voice Lab. We do Voice Lab podcast twice a week also. So that's 4 times a week for those. And just go ahead and hop on over there and check that out if you want. Now let's open this for questions.
Come on, somebody ask me something. If you don't ask me something, then I figured you were goofing off and you weren't listening.
Anybody?
It's quiz time. There's Michelle.
Come on, Roger's laughing. What's he laughing about? I'm dying to know.
Go ahead, Michelle.
Yay. Hi, Michelle. I didn't see you on.
Good morning. Good morning, ladies. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. So let's talk follow up. Okay. Follow up. So yeah, people go into these networking groups. You have an amazing chat where people are putting all their information in. Nobody uses the chat. And then follow up. So how often should you follow up? What is acceptable? Should you be emailing? Should you be texting, calling, doing the one-on-ones? What has worked for you, and how long do you keep following up, putting your information in there to try to connect with somebody before you put them on the whatever list?
Now, you know what? With my events, I've really fixed that. You should all be following up with a thank you after the meeting. Once you get that chat from me, I would follow up with every single person in there. However you think is your best follow-up. Do you like texting? Do it by text. If you like email, do it by email. You have information on them. I would follow up with them immediately saying, thank you. It was great to meet you at such and such a time and the event that you went to. Now, I would wait probably a few days, and I would follow back up and I would say, remember, now see, when I did it in person, I would go to a nice little restaurant and I would pick the biggest table in a quiet corner and I would count the seats. And if there were 7 seats, I would keep inviting people to next Tuesday for lunch until all 7 seats were filled. Now, we can't all necessarily do that now because a lot of the people are everywhere. Pick the slowest day of the week for your business. Pick the slowest time of the day. Dawn Tellinghusen does this terrifically. Tuesdays at 11 or 12 o'clock. And invite everybody to come to a Zoom on that day. And however many people show up, if it's 2, if it's 4, if it's 7, it doesn't matter how many. Now you've got a smaller group. You can spend the same amount of time, 1 hour, and get to know each other better. So again, some people will be nervous if it's just one-on-one. They're going to think, okay, they're going to put a hard sell on me. Again, if it's a smaller group, more comfortable, they will be more freely able to speak to you. And I would keep them on my list. Once a week, I would follow back up and invite them to another one of these. And maybe there's a different group of people. When they see that you're as interested in learning about their business as you are about sharing yours, it'll come across so much better. It really will. It's that hard sell where you're pushing your stuff down their throat that they're going to push back and go, nope, not interested.
I love that. All right, Donna, you're up.
Donna's got a great product you should be following up with. I'm telling you, I love it.
I do too.
I was busy writing notes. I have a whole page, Lynn, and I have a couple of things highlighted. Look at that.
Yes, see, you're perfect. And she has great stuff.
Thank you. So the big challenge for all of us is finding new people to talk to. So my question for you would be, what are a couple of strategies that you use to find new people to talk to invite to your lunches and that sort of thing?
Well, first of all, I want to show you this. See this? Somebody sent me a card. And I wonder where that came from. And it was wonderful. And they were smart because they sent me a picture that I love of my husband. And I'm not sure where they found it, but that's okay. It was wonderful. So Donna is a perfect person for you to talk to about follow-up. She has the secret. The brownies, the cards, that's it. It does it every time. So where do I find my people? A lot of people send people to me because they've been there, they've tried it, they said it works really well, and I encourage them. Bring your friends. If you have a meeting with somebody you can't get out of, well, why wouldn't you say, hey, listen, do me a favor. We're going to meet, but how about if we meet after this call? Why don't you get on this call with me and we'll grow your business at the same time, and then we'll meet afterwards. So I encourage them to do that. Every time I come in contact with somebody, I mean, always, Donna, I have a woman who comes to my meeting every single week, and I met her because I was selling some bread bowls through Marketplace, and she came to pick the bread bowls up at my house, and I said to her, so what do you do for a living? And she told me, and I genuinely was interested and listened to what she had to say, and I said, how's your business going? Well, it's a little slow. How about if I help you grow it? And I invited her to come. She came. She's got all kinds of new clients. She's in a ton of my groups. So again, everybody you come into contact with, take an avid interest in what it is they do on the side and ask them if you can help them grow their business. Many times, most of them will say, I've met with you 3 times. I don't even know what you do. It's not important what I do. It's important what I can do for you first. Then you'll know I genuinely want to work with you. That helps?
Awesome. Thank you.
I love that. All right, Roger.
He's laughing.
Well,
He's got something up his sleeve.
Well, my first question is, what are you on? I had to get my coffee late, so I'm still on my coffee. But your energy is awesome. I just love your energy. You could be selling cheese, and I would listen to you.
Thank you,
This is
Roger. First of
fantastic.
all, Roger, I want to thank you for your military service. Is that U.S. Air Force your hat because you've been in the Air Force?
Yes, ma'am. 8.5 years.
I thank you. I have 2 grandsons that are in the military right now. I worry about them. One is in the Middle East. I'm very worried, but you know what? I just pray on him that God will take care of him. And I'm grateful for all you did for us. I appreciate that.
Thank you. It was my privilege, and I gained a career. But Don stole my question. I was going to ask you how you meet new people. See, this is new to me.
Well, that's
you stole
excellent.
it. I'm a pilot, and 8 years in the Air Force, 30 years in the airline business. So I'm new to this stuff, networking, all that stuff. And I wanted to know, how do you meet new people? And you just explained it, and that was great. And I need to connect with you and listen to you more. And
Roger, I
connect
would
with
love to
people.
have you come out. In the chat, I put my information about the lunch with Lynn. I would love to have you come out and do that. And
I've
I would
already
love to help
already
you.
signed up for the Zoom on
I
Thursday.
have an uncle who was in the Air Force, career Air Force, and he ended up owning a flight school when he got out of there, but he was so tall. He was 6'7". I still can't figure out how he got in those cockpits. I really don't know. He probably had his knees right up by his ears. Great guy, though.
Well, if he was in my kind of airplane, he had enough room. I was in a C-130. So I want to give away something. I want to give a free gift to everybody. Can I drop it in the chat, Colleen?
Sure, go ahead. Sure, go
Yeah.
ahead.
And you know what,
Everybody
Roger?
wants-
I always have this kind of energy. My husband says I wake up like this and I go to bed and I don't go to sleep. I just pass out. And that's probably true.
Uh,
So yeah, everybody go ahead and grab his free gift out of the chat. And Allie, Miss Allie, thank you for joining us today. Your turn.
Hi everyone. Can you hear me?
We
Yes,
can
but
hear
we
you.
wish we could see you, Allie, because you are so stinking cute. It's not even funny. You always are.
Thank you so much. I cannot turn on my camera at the moment. I was actually watching this from LinkedIn, and then when you mentioned, Colleen, that we were in the Q&A part of the call, then I was like, okay, I want to jump in. But yeah, thank you so much. And Lynn, first of all, I wanted to say, I really enjoyed so much your approach. I completely agree with it. I have learned from it a lot, because I think curiosity, when you're like genuinely curious and you know, like you show up like that, it's a completely different story. You know, it's not like you're there just to trying to have any type of transactional relationship with anyone, but it's more of creating something better, you know, and that it's just makes everything even more beautiful and more interesting. But I'm curious, and this is not kind of, how to say, a question about how I can do some things, but because you have a huge group, and like every day there are more and more people joining your networking calls. I am just curious if it ever happened that there any type of conflict between the people that attend, or like something happened, and how have you handled it? Because uh yeah, I mean, you're a leader, and I'm sure that this could have happened in the past. How did you deal with that?
I have not had too many opportunities where I've had something negative happen. But when I did my events in person, I had a gentleman one day that stood up and said some very derogatory things. Now, mind you, there were 100 people in the room. We used to have to pass the microphone. He said some very derogatory things towards one of the other people in the room. I guess he had some kind of a personal problem with them. So, I'm not one to keep quiet. So I took my microphone and I said, "You, Joe, to the front of the room, sitting by me in this bad guy chair." And I said, "We don't do that. We don't have to have a personal conflict with somebody in front of everybody. You should have taken care of that by yourself." And when he came up, I told everybody in the room, if I find that kind of energy happening, that's negative, bad energy, I said, I want you all to take a good look at Joe, draw a little picture of him, because you won't see Joe come back again. I'm not going to invite him back again. And I've known that Joe came once before when I had a platform on Zoom, and he tried to come in and I let him in. And immediately when he came in, those of you who know, I have taught you my filing system. If you go in a red file, that means you're dead to me. So when he came on screen and it was his turn to talk, I said, "Joe, do you remember that you're in the red file?" He immediately got off the call and never came back. You know what? Sometimes you have to purge yourself of the negative energy. There are enough people in this world that I'm not going to die if Joe never comes back. I hope with all my heart that Joe has learned his lesson and doesn't do it again. But you know what? If he doesn't, it's not going to affect me and it's not going to affect anyone else. But I think the people in the room had deep respect for the fact that I wouldn't let somebody attack another person. There's no need for that. And it's the same thing with having competing people. People will say, "Well, I'm going to come and I'm going to be an insurance person. Is there going to be any other insurance people there?" I said, "Well, if you came and there were 3 other insurance people, would you not want to come?" "Well, no, I want to be the only one." I said, "Let me ask you a question. When you walk out your door in the morning, how many insurance people are outside your front door?" "Well, there's thousands of them." "Okay, well, there's only going to be 3 here. So show up. If you're that afraid of 3 people for competition, then don't come." But that's ridiculous. So that's what I do to deal with that kind of stuff. Good question, Allie.
Yeah,
I
good
love that.
question, Allie. She,
Mhm.
Lynn is bold, so I love hearing how she takes care of things like that. Carl, I went ahead and dropped your networking event in the chat again. You're welcome to do it again before the end of the meeting here in a couple of minutes, but go ahead, your turn.
Okay, first of all, anybody has any doubts about whether Lynn knows it or not? Lynn knows it, okay? I've been doing these since 2010, and my frustration point with a lot of networkers, it's nobody's fault. It's not the people who are networking's fault. It's not the people who have groups' fault. It's just that I think that sometimes something that started off great has fallen off the rails and turned into like a trade show, and people are going there to sell stuff. And I know from doing all kinds of, and I think Lynn would agree, that nobody goes to a networking event to buy anything. So if you're going there to sell and nobody's going there to buy, nothing's going to happen. So, Lynn gets it. Lynn's got a great meeting. I was going to ask Lynn, as a fellow, by the way, I refer people to other events all the time. This is not about Lynn. This is not about Carl. This is about helping people. So, but what is the biggest frustration point you have with people who don't understand networking and they attend your group?
I think sometimes I have to put the damper on them. I have to tell them, I'll take them aside and I'll say to them, stop trying to sell people. I'll give you opportunities. In fact, I've taken my own clients and I've built loyalty groups for them so that they can educate people. I said, if you just try to make a hard sell, a lot of people are going to have buyer's remorse. They're going to have felt pressured to buy something, and then they're going to drop it. That's not good for any of you. So if you just educate people on what it is you do and let them make a good decision, they will stay your friend, and they will buy, and they will send you some contacts and connections. So yeah, that is the hardest thing. If I get somebody who will consistently keep trying to sell, that's my biggest frustration, is that they're just not getting it. And at some point I have to tell them, I mean, I do have one person who comes to my meetings, and I have to tell them, if you continue to be as pushy as you are, I have my meeting divided into 2 sections. One section where everybody makes an introduction about what they do. And the second half of the meeting is where they get to go into a breakout room with 3 or 4 people. And I tell them, think that you're going to see Santa Claus. Go in there and tell those people specifically what you need. And it's their job to try to help you make that happen. So I've told this one person, you're monopolizing the conversation in there. You're trying to sell everybody in that room. If that keeps up, I'm going to have to suck you out of the meeting after the first half and never allow you to go into a breakout room, because I'm not here to aggravate the other people who end up in those breakout rooms. So, you just sometimes you just have to be the mom who puts them in the bad news room. There you go.
There you go. There you go. Okay, we are at the top of the hour. Don, we're going to get to your question in just a second. But Lynn, I think, what are you giving away for free? Is it something to do with your networking call or being a speaker or something like that? And Valerie, I'm going to call you out real quick. I know you're still in the room, honey. You need to be dropping your networking. Valerie has Wealth with Valor on Thursdays. Val, drop that in the chat for everybody to join you, please.
Here it comes.
Lynn, I want to know about your freebie, and then Dawn, you're going to be our closing question.
My freebie is, if you would like to be a speaker at my event, I give speaking spots of 5 minutes. If you would like a 5-minute speaking spot, please reach out to me. Let's talk about it. And I promise you it'll be well worth your time. And remember, you're going to be heard on the radio live, and each of those shows are replayed twice during the week, and they're played at different times so that we catch different audiences. I can't wait to hear Dawn's question. She's a great little student.
All right, Dawn, you're up.
Oh, I want to just say thank you, Lynn. I've built a wonderful relationship with you, and it's all because of joining your group. But my one question is going back to something that you said and didn't quite get it written down. So I deal with a lot of business cards. I am in a chamber of commerce that you spoke about before, where you go there, you collect business cards. And I know you said something about the follow-up with those business cards should be non-business, but I missed what it was you actually said.
You know what, Dawn? Because I love you so much, and I do, because I have invited so many Avon ladies to come and join me, and none of them show up. And you showed up, and now everybody knows you as their favorite Avon lady, and I guarantee you nobody wants to buy from anybody that's with Avon except you. But I'll tell you, you need to write a generic thank you that will work for all of them, telling them how much you enjoyed the opportunity to get to meet them, that obviously in the short period of time that you talked to them, you didn't get to know enough about them, and you would like to follow back up and have a meeting with them. What you're going to do with them is what I've taught you all the time. Make a group meeting and let as many of them show up as can. And guys, let me talk to you about that for just 1 second. Suppose I invited Valerie, Roger, Dawn, and Michelle all to come out and see me on Tuesday at 11 o'clock. And suppose that nobody showed up but Roger. Do you think you failed? No. You just know that all the other people missed out on a great opportunity. That has happened to Dawn and I several times, where we were supposed to be meeting several people, and the only person who showed up to Dawn, it was Dawn. And you know what I told her? I'm glad the other people didn't show up, because this gave me an opportunity to have some one-on-one time with you. And I said, here's what I'm going to do for you. Get out your book, show me the things that I need to see in that Avon book. And I placed a nice big order with her. So she probably hoped, she may have lied to me and told me that there were 6 people coming, knowing that nobody but me was coming. So I'd place another order. But you know what? I love her. So it makes no difference. So guys, you remember, whoever shows up is who was meant to be there. It doesn't matter the number. The number means nothing. People sometimes think, when I used to have a big event, oh, I'm going because there's 100 people. Well, that's all great, but let's talk seriously. How many people are you going to talk to within that period of time? Not all 100. And if you're not a good follower-upper, you're not going to get to meet all of them. So quit worrying about the number. The number is not important. The people who showed up were the right people who were meant to be there. Cherish them. Let them know how important it was that you spent time with them that morning or that afternoon.
Very good. Thank you so much, Lynn. We appreciate you taking the time to spend with us this morning, and as well as everybody here. We really appreciate you taking the time to come and support our event and meet Lynn. And this has been a great opportunity. If you take advantage of it, it will make a huge difference in your business. Val, you post that in the wrong group again. I'm going to share it over to the other chat.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm in yours. Oh,
I changed it. It's okay. I switched it already. All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. And remember, if you are interested in being a guest speaker here on Monday Morning Business Monday Morning Business Foreplay or Nicole's Pain Point podcast, be sure to check out brewandstewmediaspotlight.com.
Thank you. And these are two ladies you guys should definitely be in touch with. You should want to be associated with both of them.
And just so you know, this is restreamed onto multiple platforms besides my own YouTube and LinkedIn. It is also restreamed by other people to their platforms. So generally we get about 1,000+ views. So it's kind of a big deal. So if you're interested, join us. Thank you. Have a great
Roger, I'm going to be looking for you.
Have a great week. Thank you
I'll
so
be
much,
there.
Lynn.
Bye, guys.